Yo, 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 yo. Hope everyone's having a great day today. Hope everyone's having a great week, great work week, whether you're at work, coming home from work, just hanging out the house, whatever you're doing. Some updates for the Philadelphia Eagles. A few things I definitely want to go over. Obviously, we're going to be talking about a specific player. Obviously, a couple contracts have been signed from some of the draft picks. Some news on DeSean Jackson, Ndamukong Suh, a few things that's been going on. And definitely want to get to all of it. So let's get straight into the news.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Everyone's had a fantastic day today, so I want to go over some news for the Philadelphia Eagles, as usual, every single day. Now, number one, I want to go over probably the player that I think is going to break out in 23 so much. I feel like this guy is going to have his best year, even though he had still had at over 1,000. Obviously, had 1,000 yards his rookie year because the Eagles really forced him to get 1,000 yards at that last game of the season. But then last year, obviously paired with A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, I think is going to have an electrifying season this year. I think he will have more yards than catches. I think A.J. Brown will lead the team in catches, but I think DeVonta Smith will have more yards. I don't even think we have reached the high point of what DeVonta Smith could do on the field. And you guys remember when we drafted him, even his rookie year, the way they treated him. And obviously, there was, a lot of up and downs. Nick Sirianni's, trying to learn how to be a head coach, and he was a play caller for the first 5-6 games, first quarter of the season. And obviously, that's when he gave most of the play calling to Shane Steichen after that, when we start running the ball a lot more, and we were way too pass happy with barely any weapons in 21. And obviously, DeVonta Smith beat, DeSean Jackson's, I think his rookie, his yardage record, his rookie year, that year in 21, and obviously paired up with A.J. Brown. And I think a lot of different things happened last year, like when they used DeVonta Smith early last year in the season, more on the out routes, slants, like the little tiny things. I didn't really like even though all year I didn't really like the screen passes with DeVonta Smith whatsoever. I thought it was horrible. Sometimes it worked, and most of the times it really didn't. He gets tackled. He's pretty much done for. There are times he could break some tackles here and there, barely that, but he gets enough space between him and the defender. Good things could happen out of it. And I think DeVonta Smith is going to have a fantastic year this year. He's going into his third year now. So there's going to be contract negotiations between the end of this year to next season in 24. And if you had to let me choose between who are you giving the extension to, either A.J. Brown or DeVonta Smith, it's going to be DeVonta Smith. DeVonta Smith was drafted as a Philadelphia Eagle, okay? He's a homegrown talent, okay? Drafted from this team from day one of being here. We didn't acquire him from another team. That's what makes the huge difference. DeVonta Smith is, as much as there was probably a few of those catches he had last year that probably should have been brought back. Probably the Washington right sideline catch, he ended up dropping that, or it wasn't a catch. Obviously the NFC Championship game, that wasn't a catch. So he got away with a couple catches for the season, but overall, I think once Dallas Goedert went down, because they love throwing to Dallas Goedert, and A.J. Brown was a big target, and they used DeVonta Smith for the little small things. I wanted them to attack more with DeVonta Smith during the season. I think that Dallas Goedert being injured really did help, and they started to really use DeVonta Smith more vertical downfield and attack with A.J. Brown, and man, did it really do wonders for this team last year. And I think DeVonta Smith is he's just going to be so much better going into this season. And I feel like, yes, more yards for DeVonta Smith. I think he will lead the team in receiving yards, and I rest my case on the whole DeVonta Smith situation. I'm so excited to keep this offense so intact, still only losing a couple pieces. And this wide receiver core is the best in the league, in my opinion. And man, don't you have some players here, and love the way these guys work together, and the camaraderie and all that great stuff. So I know we're excited about DeVonta Smith, no doubt. Not just him, but the rest of the receiving core as well going forward. Now, it looks like Sidney Brown Sidney Brown and tylersteen did sign their contracts today, which was great. Very excited about that. I'm very interested to see the right guard situation with tylersteen and Cam Jurgens, since Kelsey said the other day that there's going to be big competition there. Sidney Brown, I'm very, very excited for, because I know a lot of fans that have been saying a lot of bad things about him. This was a player that the Eagles scouting department marked as a red star talent, okay? Usually with teams, they always mark that red star talent, a player that exemplifies what it means to be a Philadelphia Eagle. That's what they marked him as. As much as people in the third round were kind of like, people were not really on board with, maybe they drafted him a little too early, and I don't think so. I feel like the Eagles got a really good bargain here, but not even that. Obviously, he was like top 3 in his conference in coverage as a safety, but at the same time, he's a real good downhill tackler too, and he's just got really good instinct, and he's got great leadership quality. That's why he's a red star recruit. He's a red star player for the Eagles from the scouting department. As you only name one player out of your whole entire draft, or not your draft, but yeah, pretty much your draft. But every player that you scout, you always mark that one red star player, and that was Sidney Brown. And they ended up drafting him. I feel like he's going to make some noise, because really, like, after the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's, contract negotiations went down, Terrell Edmunds is a nice stopgap player for the Eagles. I think he's going to play really well. These outside corners play really good, and obviously if Sean Desai does the right thing with these corners, it's going to make the safety job a lot easier. Okay, Terrell Edmunds, Reed Blankenship gave us a nice sample size last year, but I think potentially Sidney Brown could move to that spot. I feel like he is going to make some noise there. You have Justin Evans, a second-round pick from the Tampa Bay Bucks in 2017, and he's always hurt every year, but he could play nickel corner and safety if you really need him. If you need him to. You know what I mean? So you got some bodies there. You have some bodies there to see what you. I mean, they can end up moving Keely Ringo to safety and cross-train him, which I would 100% do this offseason. Will they do it? I don't know. Kevon Wallace, there's only so much back there right now. I think the Eagles did a really good job of getting as many bodies at safety as possible. I think there's a lot there to really go into in training camp, and I wouldn't take your eyes off Sidney Brown, to be honest. I think, when it comes to, there's good players in college but when you get those players that study the game and you get those players that watch a lot of film, like, religiously every week on their matchups and what to do. That's a really good sign in a player, especially when they could start in the NFL. It's a really good sign. That's why he was a red star player from the Eagles scouting department, and obviously they had to draft him, and they ended up getting him. So very excited about the safety spot with Sidney Brown. A lot of people have been down on him, but I feel like something's brewing here. He's going to make some type of noise. I feel like not Kevon will get kicked out, depending on how many safeties they keep, but they can keep 4, whatever. But I feel like, Reed Blankenship needs to watch his back. Because Sidney Brown is going to be tough. He's going to play real tough this training camp, and I'm pretty pumped for it. So that was the news on both of those guys with their contract situations, and they both signed, ready to go. Third, now DeSean Jackson. There's some news that came out. He was on the I Am Athlete podcast, talking about, I guess they asked him on the podcast. He was a guest on there asking him, well, you got the Ravens, if you want to go, your 16th NFL season, would you want to go to the Ravens with Odell and Lamar Jackson? Or you have the Philadelphia Eagles. They were just in the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. Jalen Hurts is on fire right now. And he even said, I'd rather go to the Eagles right now. And realistically, he said that he wants to retire a Philadelphia Eagle. Obviously, I'm not surprised at that. I mean, if he went anywhere else, I would say you're crazy. So when the time comes, he said he's going to wait for a team that's going to call and at the end of the year, really. He's really only going to be here for the end of the year to wait until a team's getting to the playoffs. He's ready to jump on a playoff team and pretty much ring chase at this point. That's what he's pretty much doing. Get a nice little paycheck while get a ring at the same time or compete for one for the playoffs, until you get to the Super Bowl and everything like that. So this doesn't mean he's coming to Philadelphia, but, I mean, he was kind of like choosing between Baltimore or the Eagles, and he picked the Eagles over Baltimore. But I think it was more of a respect thing. Like, he's not going to pick another team over the Eagles, on radio or what, the interview that he had. So I totally get it. I think we're kind of done with the DeSean Jackson thing. I mean, we kind of went through it, and the guy just couldn't stay healthy the 2 years. He just couldn't stay healthy. It was just unfortunate, and it is what it is. I think we have enough receivers at wide receiver 3. People are talking about putting him in the slot. I'm like, I'm not taking snaps. I'm not taking snaps from nobody else. Like, I'm letting this wide receiver 3 thing kind of turn over on itself with Quez and Zacchaeus and Jaden Hazelwood and Joseph Nagata and some of the other guys, the undrafted guys that we have. Charleston Rambo that made that had a tryout, made it, was signed, and is ready to compete. So we don't need no flashy moves like that. It's not even like really flashy. He's old. He's really old, and was he 33 now? Probably by this time. I mean, probably 33 years old. So he's old, could still run, but his health is a major issue as of right now. And yeah, I mean, trust me, if DeSean Jackson was 27. By the time when Jackson left the Eagles and went to Washington, that was the worst. And that's when, DeSean Jackson at that time when he went to, he was definitely, he was in a longer prime than most, that's why he's so special, because he was so good for so long, and the Eagles knew how to use him, not only in his early career on special teams, but for the offense as well. And then later in his career, obviously after he left Philadelphia, he was in a more prime base with Washington. I thought he played such at a high level with Washington, really did. But yeah, if he was a lot younger, yeah, I wouldn't mind it, but we're kind of done with the whole DeSean Jackson situation, and let him come here on a one-day contract and retire when it's time and call it a day. So I think he was just giving respect at the end of the day, nothing crazy. And third news on the day as well, Ndamukong Suh, and this was from a couple days ago. I didn't cover it because I wanted to find out more information on it, but Ndamukong Suh was interviewed a couple times on returning and would the Eagles be a good fit for him? He said it definitely. He definitely agreed that the Eagles have a team, a wide open window for another Super Bowl. And, he could be back. It could happen. Give it time. Defensive tackle's pretty good right now. You got Moro Ojomo you got in the 7th round, which he should have been a 5th round steal. Between Jalen Carter, between Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, and Kadavia Street that we got. That was part of the Saints defensive line. He'll probably get you 3 to 5 sacks for the year on rotation. Milton Williams, the guy from USC, I can never say his damn name every time. So not too bad, to be honest with you. If, middle of the season, so, Ndamukong Suh says he's not going through training camp. He's not going through any of that. He's not doing camp or none of that. And at his age, he probably doesn't need to. He can stay in shape, do his thing, and get to a team, by mid-season. If that's the case, if the Eagles get an injury on defensive tackle, whether it's like Milton Williams or somebody, back there gets injured, there'd be no doubt that he would definitely come here. If the Eagles are winning, he would probably be like, yeah, they're going to be in the playoffs. We have definitely have another chance, to get a ring finally. Again, at least for him, he wants another ring. So, this could be, and I liked Linval Joseph too. I thought he was great against the run. He was an immovable object. I mean, he was amazing too. So obviously when Jordan Davis got hurt last year, he had the high ankle sprain. That's when they, signed Linval, signed Suh, and, before that Colts game, by that Colts game, and then, then once Jordan Davis came back, and then there was even more depth. The more depth you have at defensive tackle, the better Fletcher Cox is going to play, because obviously he can't play 70% of the snaps. He could play 35 to 45% of the snaps, and that's pretty much it as of right now. So I think, down the road there could be, or maybe they want to add another defensive tackle. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe they feel more comfortable bringing Suh in. We'll see what happens. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. Let's just look down the road, and he knows the player. The good thing about the Ndamukong Suh thing is, it's always going to be open for him because he knows the players here. And he's got familiarity with everybody. Nothing's really changed defensively besides Hargrave leaving, and you have a couple first-round picks on that defensive line. Really, nothing's really changed, and he knows a lot of guys defensively. Got Bradbury back, Slay's still here. He knows a lot of guys still here, so I don't think he would have a problem as long as the Eagles are winning. He's not going to join us if we have, we're 1-4, 1-5. You know what I mean? Like we have to be somewhat winning and looking pretty good. So with a tougher schedule this year, so there's always room for Ndamukong Suh if that's the case going forward. But really, other than that, that's pretty much it. If you last this long in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well. We'll have more Eagles news every single day. Obviously, we're kind of picking straws, because training camp hasn't started yet. And trust me, once that starts, it is not going to stop until next June. Pretty much until next June, the end of May, pretty much. That's when things are just going to keep piling up. We have our preseason games, joint practices, and then we wait a few weeks till the season starts, and then we're back in it. You know what I mean? So thought there was really good information here from, obviously, we'll have more news tomorrow. YouTube is working. I did update a few things. Apparently, YouTube Studio was just broken. It just wasn't uploading videos. That's why I had no videos out yesterday. I always have content every single day. So other than that, it's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about, obviously, who do you think is going to be the breakout player offensively? Wide receiver-wise, I would probably say A.J. Brown or DeVonta Smith or the number 3 wide receiver, whether you think it's Quez, Zacchaeus, whoever else do you think is going to get a shot there. I'd like to know in the comment section below what you guys think about that. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shake Squad up, file slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.